here from Craftywafty. Welcome all you Craftywafties, and as I like to call myself, Chief Craftywafty Doodah here. Don't ask me where I got that from. I have no idea. The brain just goes a little bit bonkers from time to time. But anyway, I am so excited to be bringing you our very first Craftywafty along. Some of you may have seen some of my previous videos and lives on Facebook, but what I wanted to do was have a nice lovely little project that we could get done in an evening and go through and do that, and so that everybody can sort of join in and sort of craft along with us. So please do pop a comment in on the in the little comment section and just say hi, and where you're from will be absolutely fantastic. It'd be lovely to see where everybody is sort of dialing in from. Do you say dialing in now? I don't know, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so just to give you a little background while we're just waiting on a few people to come and join us. Craftywafty, hi Samantha, glad you could make it. We are based here in Southend. Well, we were in Southend and then we moved to Rayleigh. Well, I moved to Rayleigh. But our shop is sort of in Essex, and we're an online shop only. So if there's anything that you want to purchase from our shop, then just pop along to craftywafty.co.uk. Now, oh, hi Teresa, lovely. Teresa's from Wickford, and Samantha, I think, was an Essex girl. Lovely. So I think we're just waiting on a couple of other people just to see what's coming, who's coming on. I'm really pleased, I'll be honest, just to see how many people have actually come along and actually downloaded the Craftywafty cutting and scoring instructions. Now, if you've not done this before, then you can just pop along to our Craftywafty shop. If you just put in our search bar mini purse album, it will come up, and yeah, you can just download it for free. But if you can't, if you're no good with that sort of stuff, then I did post up a couple of photos of the instructions on the Facebook page, and so you can sort of have a little look there. But I just wanted to sort of give you those, and then obviously you get the video that comes with it. So this is what we're going to be making tonight. So let's just do a quick little flick through. Hi Jackie, hope you're feeling better. Lynn, hi Lynn. Oh, Lynn's from Dagenham as well. Okay, so we've got some local people with us, so that's fantastic. Now, how did I come up with this idea? I just thought it'd be really nice to make a nice little mini album that if you wanted to, you could just pop it into your handbag or something. I know some people have called these grandma brag books, but you know what? You could put anything in there in terms of, you know, whether it's pictures of family, grandchildren, pets, anything like that. You can sort of decorate it as you wish. But I've been on a mission, I'll be honest, I've been on a mission this year to, oh hi Deborah, Leon C, lovely, and Susie as well, fantastic, thank you for joining. So I lost my train of thought now, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I have been on a mission to try and use up some scrap bits of paper and construction board, and you know what it's like, you make a project and then you end up with loads and loads of stuff left over. So my mission is this year is to try and be a bit more sustainable and try and utilise up some of my bits and pieces. So that's what I was doing, and it just happened that this little album sort of came out of wanting to make a smaller one. I had some scrap bits and pieces, and that's what I thought I would do. So let's just have a quick little look, and then we'll make a start just to give people time to sort of join on as well. Hi Jackie, that's Jackie De Silva, lovely of you to join us. I think we've got a few others. I do apologise if I miss you with your names coming up, but just bear with me. Who else have we got? Let's have a little look. So I said hi to Teresa and that. Jackie, Lynn as well. Oh, daughter's in Hadley. Fantastic. Oh, that's lovely, Samantha. Love the ethos. Well, I'm trying. I do try. I mean, I know we've got our shop and we, you know, we sell lots of lovely papers and stuff like that. But I'm a true crafter at heart, and you know what it's like. You just need to use up what you can. So anyway, quick little flick through of the album. So here we've got a little flap that opens up, and this then just opens up again, so you've got an extra little bit just to put a couple of photos on. Now most of the photos, I will just say, in this album are 3x4, but there is space when we open up the back pocket. You can see that you can put in some 4x6s as well. So depending on how you decorate it, where you put your your photo mats and stuff like that, you can get, I reckon, between 15 to 20 photos for, you know, for this nice little album. Then the bottom one opens up as well, so I've just left that just as a single, and then we've got the two little gatefold doors that open up. So I'm just going to concentrate on this side for the minute. Now we've got this big, let's just do this bit in the middle. This is the big pocket, which will take you 4x6 photos. Okay, so if you wanted to tuck a couple in there, then you can do. And then here we've got this little one. Now this is on my right hand side. We've got a nice little belly band there, so you could tuck a little 3x4 photo in there, or if you've got some nice journaling cards or something like that you want to use up, you can tuck those in as well. It's not hearing sound. Oh, is everybody else hearing sound? Can somebody just give me a thumbs up to see if everybody's hearing sound? I'll just make sure that everybody's okay. I know it sounds daft, but you know, try turning up your volume, that might work. But I just want to double check if someone can give me a heads up that everybody's hearing me. That'll be lovely. I can. Okay, thanks, Samantha. Right, yes, so a little belly band, and then that opens up, and then you've got a little place to put a photo there, and a little pocket that if you want to tuck in some other little photos, or maybe a little journaling card. So a few other little bits and pieces like that you can use on that side. And then if I just pull it over here on the left hand side, that opens up. You've got another little pocket on that side, and then we've got like a little extended bit here, so you can get a couple of extra photos in as well. So lots of scope for putting lots of photos in. And to be honest, when you're making up this album, you can add or take away as much as you like. Oh, I'm not precious about this, okay? At the end of the day, it's your album. You do it how you wish, okay? So that's where I'm at with this. Right, so let's just tuck that to one side. Now give me a thumbs up or a little heart of those of you who are actually going to make this along with me tonight, just to see, and see how many people we've got actually making along. Or if you're just watching, that's fine too. I really don't mind, but it would just be nice to see how many of you. I know quite a few of you have already downloaded our pattern, so that's really lovely. Okay, right, now those people that know me, all right, oh hi Karen, and hi Susie as well. Those people that know me, right, know that I like to be organised, okay, and it gets to be a bit of a habit, you know, so much so that I have a labelling machine. And if any of you know me, you know that if anything stays still for more than 2 minutes in my house, it gets a label on it. I'll have to say that luckily my cat is a bit quick on his feet, and he's very lucky that he hasn't managed to get one yet, but we live and wait and see what happens on that point. But anyway, oh lovely, so Samantha's making along, Teresa's making along, that's lovely. Now please do tell me whether I'm going too fast or too slow, okay? So just put a little comment in for me, that'll be great. Now, as I said, I like to be a little bit organised, so I pre-done all of mine already, and what I've done is I've got some, well, construction board, or this is like mount card. I think actually we might have some of this in the shop if you haven't got any. But I always say, if you haven't got anything like construction card or board or anything like that, do you know what you can do? Just stick a couple of cereal boxes together, you know, and just to make it a little bit on the thicker side will be absolutely fine. Or if you've got an old notebook or something like that, you know, and you've got the cover of that, utilize that, you know, at the end, you know, just have a go with stuff. Hi Jackie, lovely of you to join us. Yeah, just, you know, at the end of the day, we are trying to sort of use up stuff. So if you don't have your hands on any construction board or anything like that, I'd like to give you another option of what you can do. Now here I've got, these are the 2 doors. So, and I always write on mine so I know exactly what the sizes are and the pieces. And then these is the main part, and then these are the little spines. And then I've got all my black bits cut out ready, but we're going to put together the bulk, the main part of the album first, and then we'll add in all the other bits after. Just one little tip that I use, which I absolutely love, are these tiny little, I don't know if you can see these tiny little little bulldog clips. I just love these, and these are really handy as well, because especially, I mean, I do follow quite a few other people as well. I like to make their albums and stuff. So when I sit down and go through all the instructions, I sort of cut it all out, and then I label it up, and then I use these to clip them all together. So I think these are fantastic. And I'll be honest, I got these from Amazon. I think you get 50 in a packet. I can't remember the exact amount, but you know, there's really, really great. Hi Steve as well. Steve has joined us. And I think we've got Jackie, no, we've got Jane and Lynn as well. So lots of lovely people joining us tonight. Okay, that's enough of me waffling on. Shall we crack on, everybody? I think so. Right. So on our instructions here, I've got down here, I've got the construction board. So I've got the back, which is 5 inches by 7 inch by 1 piece. So this is the big piece here. Okay, that's going to make the back of the album. So I'm just going to lay these out. Okay, then we have got the bottom part, which is 3 inches by 7, and that's going to sit there. Okay, and then we've got the top, which is a little bit bigger, which is 4 by 7. Okay, so we're just going to line those in line there. Then we've got our little spines. Now the spines will tuck in between here. These are 3 1/4 inch by 7, so they're just going to tuck in on that side like so. So as you can see how this is going to, how we put this together, how it's going to look. And then we've got the 2 little 5 inch by 1/2 inch. They're going to just tuck in on the side like so. And then we've got the outer doors, which are your 5 inch by 3 1/2 inch, and they're just going to sit on the side like that. So that is how the album is going to be put together. That's all the construction board. Okay, now I just wanted to mention that I know I've said about using like a construction tape. If you go over to Cool Cats Craft, they do like a tiger tape, and that's what I've got here, which is what we're going to use to assemble all of this together. However, I just wanted to say that if you don't have access to this tape, I just want to give you another little method of what you can do. Okay, so what I've got here is some little scrap bits of black card. Okay, that one is, it's just a little bit over, it might need trimming down, but I just want to give you a rough idea of what I would do. So I would hinge this together using a little strip of black cardstock, and that's 1 inch there. So I will score down half of that like so. Let's just take that out, and then I would put I'll just give that a little fold, and I would actually add red liner tape to either, or glue to either side of that, and that is what I would use to attach the parts together. So I would have that as the top bit, and then I would get the spine bit, and I would then stick that on, giving me about 1/8 of an inch gap to sort of help with the folding over. Okay, and then I would do that all the way around all the joints. All right, So I just wanted to mention that if you didn't have any black construction card, that's what you can use. And again, it's great for using up your scraps of black cardstock. Okay, and also by using the little hinges, the other thing that I would normally do is go round the edges of my construction board. So I'd like to sort of go around the edge with this is like a chisel Sharpie, and I would go around all the edges that are going to be seen. Okay, I'll just sort of go all the way round. So I'm just giving you alternatives. Okay, this is not how I'm going to put the album together tonight, but I just wanted to give you a couple of alternatives. Okay, and then what I would do is I would just blend in the corners, just so that when you're folding over and your papers and stuff like that, and I would do that for all the pieces front and back. Okay, so I just wanted to sort of give you a heads up on that. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we're going to put together the construction board for the main centre part. Okay, so here we are, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and find the end. Anybody else have trouble with this? I always have trouble with trying to find the end. Okay, Samantha, you follow other album makers too? Yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it's great to see how other people put their designs and stuff together. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that off for a minute. Okay, now it's a slightly bigger. Right, okay, so that's my construction board. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come in, not quite half, because I want to allow a little bit of a gap, and I'm just going to stick that down, and then the little spine bit, I'm just going to give myself about 1/8 of an inch or thereabouts gap, just enough to be able to fold this over. Whoops, little butterfingers, there we are. Right, let's just tuck that in like so. Stay still, there you go. And I'm just going to put that on there and put that on there like so. Okay, and I've left myself a little bit of a gap there for the minute. Okay, and then I'm just going to put another bit of tape going across that as well, like so. Right, actually let's get these scissors, it'll be easier. Okay, don't worry about these odd bits for a minute, because I'm just going to sort of go along and trim those up in a minute. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the bottom. Okay, so if everybody is doing this, and just cut this. There we go. And I'm not over panicking if there is, the tape is a little bit short, okay, because we will line all of this as well. So I'm just going to again put that in middle like so. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring the bottom bit up, give myself about 1/8 of an inch. There we are, like so, about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and then we're going to come across with another bit of tape on there. Now, as you'll see, that'll pretty much cover up that centre, that spine there. I'm just going to sit this off. Okay, so let's just give that a test. Yeah, that folds up lovely. Okay. All right, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn it round and come up from the other way. Okay, so I'm going to bring the top down and like so, and I'm just going to attach these again. So if everybody is doing that, that'll be lovely. Hi, who else have we got coming? Who's come on board tonight? Let's have a little look. If I missed anybody, I think I've said a shout out to everybody. If I've missed you, please just say, give me a little wave and I'll give you a mention. I think Susie Dickinson is watching, so lovely, welcome everybody. I don't know about you, I mean, while we're just sticking this bit together, but I opened up the curtains this morning and I looked out the window, I went, where's the sun gone? It's just, it's just completely disappeared. And it's been a really overcast day today, and I was like, what on earth is going on with our British weather? And yet they're saying like places like Scotland, it's the driest it's been since 1964 for the month of May. It's madness, utter madness. But there we are. Right, okay, and then I'm just going to stick on again, leaving about 1/8 of an inch, like so. Oops. Okay, let's just reset that a little bit. Now, if you're not sure about these measurements, you can obviously use a ruler to help you, but I'll be honest, I'm doing it a little bit by eye. But you know, hi Carol, lovely of you to join us, thanking you. Who else have we got with us? Let's see, who else have we got? So we've got a few other people coming on board, so that's really lovely. Right, and now I'm going to stick this one down as well. I'm just going to trim that off, like so. There we are, and then I'm just going to do the last one. How's everybody doing? Is everybody all okay? Give me a thumbs up if you're all good. And we're just going to, so we're just literally sticking this together. Okay, it's a little bit tacky, this tape, but it's good stuff. So I'm just going to line that one in on there, and then we're going to put the top one on like so. And then I'm just going to line another little bit of tape going over the top. Everybody's good. Fabulous. Okay. I'll just line that across like so. There we are. Right, okay. So let's just give those little bends, right, they're all bending over quite nicely. That's it. That's going to come over. And then that's going to come up like that. So we've already got the basis of our album. Now what I am going to do is just put a little bit of tape. Well, actually no, because once I put the colour paper on that won't matter, actually, thinking about it. Okay, so I'm just going to trim up my edges. Okay, all good, but don't have Tyvek or tape, so winging it with cardstock. Do you know what, Sam? That's absolutely fine. So, yeah, that's absolutely fine. And somebody trying to give us a quick ring then. Right, okay, I'm just going to trim off these little excess bits, like so, where we've just overlapped those. Just take this. It's good to have a good pair of scissors, actually. When you're sort of, especially with this tape as well. Hi Steph, welcome. Hope everything's all good in your world. Right, and we're just going to trim down. Yeah, good pair of scissors, especially with sticky tape like this. I don't know about you, I've got about 7 or 8 pairs of scissors, and I don't know about you, but I always find that there's always one pair that does one job better than the others. And I have to say that the Tim Holtz ones do a pretty good job of cutting this tape. So that's absolutely brilliant. Now, what I will say is that because Facebook have changed their rules on the videos and that their lives only stay for 30 days, that I will be uploading all my videos and the past ones as well over the next couple of weeks up onto YouTube. So if they do decide to take this off, then obviously you can pop along there and find it on our YouTube channel. So I've just trimmed up those bits. Now, if everybody's ready for the next section, what we're going to do is we're going to add in our side ones. Now this is where it gets a little bit fiddly, okay, because we're coming out now. That was fairly straightforward, all right. And what I'm going to do is just run a little bit of black tape, I think, before we stick those bits on. Actually, I'm going to run a little bit of black tape round these ends, because this section here in the middle is going to be covered by tape when we stick the side bits on, okay. Now there are some of you that probably say, well, you should have done that beforehand, Deb, and quite possibly I should have done, but I was just too eager to get the thing together. So, and I'm just going to cut these into small strips so I can just sort of go round and stick that on there. And I'm coming in about halfway, like so. I'm just going to fold that over, so smooth it out like that, and then I'm just going to trim off that end, and then I'm going to come along and do the other ones. Okay, and then I'm going to come along and do this long one, like so. There we are. It's just, oops. It's a little bit sticky. All right, I'm just going to snip that. Like I said, having a good pair of scissors really helps with this. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that about halfway across, bring that over, just smooth that out as we do that with the tape, so we don't get any wrinkles. If you get any wrinkles, if you get your little bone folder tool, you can just sort of iron those out. Just going to snip off those ends. It'll be easier to cut it from that way. So it's given us a nice box edge on there. Okay. I like that, Sam. Yeah, Sam has put, when the kids grab the good scissors, don't use my good scissors. Yeah, I think we've all been there, haven't we? Right, I'm just going to come down, and now because I've got a little bit of the white showing here, I'm just going to run this tape so it just goes over. I'm trying to do this left-handed now. Right, that's it. A bit of tape stuck on there. That's it. Right, there we go. Whoops. That's what I mean. I've got a little bit sticking on there. Just going to bring that in about halfway. So that's going to cover that end. Like so. That's it. And pull that over. I just love this tape because I think it just gives it a nice finish. Here we are. All right, and we're just going to trim this bit like so, and then we're literally just going to do exactly the same on the other side. Okay. Yeah, so that's sticking down okay. Do that one needs a little trim on that bit. There we go. Just trim that a little bit off. There we are. Right, I'm just going to do the same on the other side. Now this has got a little bit of the white showing on there, so I'm just going to take that down a little bit more. And just snip that across. What I need is somebody to invent a little, I know you get sellotape dispensers. I know you get sellotape dispensers, but what would be really handy is to have something that will hold your tape while you are pulling it out, and stop it from falling over. Would be really useful idea. I'm just putting it out there. Somebody's bound to come up with something. So right, let's just get that through like so. I'll just give that a little push down there, so that's covered that. And then we've just got 2 more sides to do. Okay, here we are. Now you could, I mean, I suppose I could have wrapped these sides before I put it together, but it is what it is. And there we are. Right, okay, and we're just putting these last few bits. Set. Roll it over, smooth that down. Just going to trim off those ends. Like so. And we're just going to trim the other side. Alright. Okay, how's everybody doing? Is everybody good? And then we're just going to come down and do this last side. And again, I've got a little bit of the white showing there, so I'm just going to bring this down a little bit further. Okay. Right, I'm just going to bring that up. Line that on there. Okay, and then we're just going to bring that over. Like so, smooth that out as we go along. Okay. I'm just going to trim this off. Alright, so there we are. We've got our top. Now you can always tell what is the top because it's the wider one sitting up there. I notice I've got a tiny little bit of black showing there, but I think once we come to white showing there, we just tack on a tiny little bit of black, wrap that around there. So this is what I love about this tape. It's so versatile that you can just cover up what you need to. Here we go. I'm just going to tuck that around there, and that's going to come around on that side. There we go. Wonderful. All right. So our next bit is to put our spines in, and then we're going to put our outside pocket doors on. Okay, pockets, we're putting our outside doors on, and we're going to do this exactly the same method. I'm going to run the black tape along, and then I'm going to stick this on like so, and then obviously another bit of tape which will come out for that. Okay, so if you're still keeping up with me, that's all good. Then we'll crack on with that, and then pretty much that is the basis of the construction board done. So I'm just going to, now these are a little bit, right, let's just cut that, go back, let's cut it that way. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm going to stick it on the spine first. Now this will overlap on the spine. If it doesn't stop sticking to my finger. Right, okay, so I put it on the spine bit first. Somehow it's gone a little bit squiffy on there. In fact, let's get rid of that bit because it creased it. There we are. We'll cut another bit. Right, okay, so I'm sticking this on the spine. Pretty much all of that is going to go over on there. There we are. So obviously these are a little bit thinner. Right. Right, so Samantha's asked me a question. Can I ask, how come you don't wrap in one piece as in attached to a larger base of cardstock? Is it due to the shape? Pretty much, Samantha, yes. I know, like, if you're making albums, you would wrap the whole thing. I mean, you could do, but I just feel because you've got to come out as well from it, it just makes it a little bit awkward. So, yeah, I do for this particular album, yes, I have done it a bit piecemeal. Is that it? Piecemeal. Yeah, but good question though. Some of my other albums, yes, I have done it all in one piece, especially if it's an album cover. Okay, so what you can see here, just to show you what I've done, is the tape was a little bit longer than the spine bit, and I've just trimmed it down and cut that over and folded it over, just to sort of cover up those edges. And now I'll be able to line that up with the main part of the album. Okay, leaving again about 1/8 of an inch on there. Right, I think I'm just a fraction out. Just trying to make sure that I get it lined up with the back section. Okay, right, and that is down. All right, and then I can now put a bit of tape on there, just to make sure that that covers that bit, like so. I'm just going to trim off like that. There we are. So that's that first little spine bit on. Okay, and then I'm going to put the spine bit onto this section. Now, because again I'm just trying to make sure I don't overlap that too much, let's just trim that like so, and then I'm going to stick that down ready for the next bit. Okay, and then I can just trim that down, those edges on here. So I'm just snipping either end if I've got a little bit of overlap, and then I can just fold that over just to give me a nicer, neater finish. And before I stick this bit on, what I am going to do is I'm going to go around this all 3 sides, which will make it a lot easier to handle when you come to put the rest of it together. So, and literally all I'm going to do is I'm going to do one end. Now this is what I could have done with all the other pieces, to be fair, at the beginning, but I suppose it's good to show you different ways of doing it. So just going around 3, I'm going to trim that off, and I'm just going to smooth that down, smooth this down like so. And before I stick these bits down, I'm just going to go in. This is what I'm saying again about having a sharp pair of scissors. I'm just going to snip out the corners so they don't become too bulky. So it's I'll be honest, it's a little bit fiddly, but we'll be there. So Steve has said apparently he stuck his fingers together trying to do this. Okay. I just want to let you know that, and I'm going to let you into a little secret, that Steve is my brother. So I don't know what he's sticking his fingers together with. I'm sure, Steve, you'll have to show me later what you've done. You've been in trickier situations than that, bro. So here we go. But it's lovely that you've come on and joined us anyway. So okay, all right. So I'm just going to run that along. I'm just going to smooth those down, and then I'm going to come in on the other end like so. That's it. And then we'll do the other end. That's it. Like so. There we are. Alright, I'm just going to trim off these little bits. That bit's folded over. Okay, so now I've done that, I can now attach this to to my spine, again leaving about 1/8 of an inch, and just making sure that it's all in line. Okay, and I've stuck that on there, and now I'm just going to run a bit of tape over the top, and I'm just going to let that run a little bit longer so I can wrap it all over, and then that will just give that a nicer, neater finish, like so. Okay, all right, and that's going to bend over like that, and bend over like that. Okay, and there is our first side done, our left hand side done, and now we're just moving on to the other side. And then once that's done, that, I'll be honest, that is all the tricky bit, I promise you. Okay, the next bit is relatively straightforward. Okay, right, oh, who else have we got joining us? Samantha, it's going to be covered, as mine is looking a bit rough around the edges. Absolutely, don't you worry, Samantha, it's going to be covered. Okay, like so. Okay, right, I've got a little bit of white showing on there actually. Now I've turned that round on that side, I'll put a tiny little bit in just to overlap that, because all the pattern paper that I've given you will cover all of this, so that's absolutely fine. Okay, right, let's do the spine again. So I'm going to do, how did I do? I covered it on that side because I'm sort of having to do, that's it, let's just line that in on there. Right, here we go. Just going to trim this off. Okay, and then like I did before, I'm just going to snip down. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just snip down to where that point is and fold that bit over on those, like so. And then this bit is going to stick to the underneath. You're welcome, Sam. Right, okay, and now I'm just going to line this up. Again, giving myself about 1/8 of an inch gap. You can hear breathing. It's like, oh. It's always a little bit tense, but we're all good. We're all good. Right, let's just snip those last little bits there because I've overdone that slightly. Okay, that can fold over. And just trim that bit down like so. Just going to fold that end in. There we go, that's better. Right, okay. And then I'm just going to wrap like I did before, 3 sides. Okay. And here we go. 1, 2. And we're going to do the other side like so. And then I'm just going to trim that off. Right, and then we're just back again to snipping out these little triangles just to almost give it like a mitered corner touch, but I'm not going right to the bottom because then you could possibly end up seeing a bit of the white card or the white construction board. So a little tip is that if you're unsure about doing this bit, what you can do, like I showed you right at the beginning about going in with the Sharpie pen on the corners just to cover up any potential bits of construction board showing. Okay, let's just take all these tiny little sticky bits, let's put them to one side. Right, I'm just going to run my finger along that, smooth that down like so. I'm going to run my finger along that one, coming down there. Okay, and then this side again, going to come in and run my finger along that bit. Okay, right, and then I've just got to join this to the other piece. Tape, there we go. Right, I need to add a bit of that to there because I haven't done that on that bit. Let's just snip that off. Cut that a little bit short now. There we go. I'm going to attach that bit on there. There we go. This is what I love about this tape. You can cover up any little bits that might be shown. You see? And then we're just going to do this last little bit. Now, another way of actually wrapping these, while I've got this very last bit to show you, is that you can pull the tape right out, stick that. Now you can see I've come even further. Okay. I'm just going to snip that. There's another little method that you might find easier. So I've come all the way out and then I line this up and again leaving about 1/8 of an inch gap, and then I fold these bits over. And to be honest, I tend to use this method quite a bit when I do my albums. Putting the album covers and stuff together. But yeah, so you can do it piecemeal like cutting strips, or you can sort of do a wrap round. And there we are. We've got our basis of our purse album. How's everybody doing? Everybody's engrossed in what they're making. Lovely jubbly. Right, let's see who else have we got. Well, I'm just giving people a chance. Smira, lovely of you to join us. Who else have we got? But I haven't given a shout out to. Let's just have a little look while we're just waiting for everybody. Lynn Barnes, I think. I may have given you a shout out already. I'm just double checking. Don't want anybody to feel that I've left them out. Wendy. Hi, Wendy. I think that's pretty much. Oh, Pam. Don't think I mentioned you, Pam. Hi. So I've got a few people watching, which is absolutely lovely. So thank you for joining anyway. Right. Okay. So if everybody has taken a breather, have we all managed to get this bit done? Kind of similar. Yes, Susie. Thank you. Right. Okay. So now we've got the basis done, we're now going to move on to the black cardstock. Okay, so on my instructions, what I've done for those of you who've downloaded is that I've given you everything that you'll need equipment wise, and then here the construction board. So we're coming down to the black cardstock. Okay, I'll be honest, I normally use 240 GSM. Okay, that's roughly where I sort of park my usage of black cardstock. We've got some lovely black cardstock, the Crafter's Companion stuff, 50 sheets. I think, I can't remember off the top of my head, I think it's about £11, something like that, but it's really, really good quality stuff, and this is what I'm using to make the album with. Now, what I've done here, again, I've been a bit OCD, and I've written out all my instructions on here. So I've got the right hand side, I've got the left hand side, and then I've got the back pocket and the top. Okay, I purposely haven't scored any of these because I wanted to go through that with you. Okay, so we can do that together. All right, so I think what we'll probably do is we'll work our way down the list of the back pocket on the black card, okay, on the instructions. So I'm just going to tuck my instructions there for the moment. Okay, I'm going to move these bits out the way. So we've got the back pocket. Now the back pocket should be 8 inches by 3.5 inches by 1 inch. Now what I want to explain is how I write my instructions for the scoring. Okay. Now as it's a pocket, it's fairly straightforward. Okay. I've written here score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So what do I mean by that? So here's my pocket. I'm literally going to come down and do 1/2 inch on that side. Then I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to do 1/2 inch on that side. Then I'm going to turn it round again and do 1/2 inch on that side. That is what I mean by score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. Okay. And while we're doing the main bulk bit of it, let's do the next bit, the top. We'll go through and we'll score everything. The top is 7 inches by 4 3/8 of an inch. It's really hard to type this up because the computer doesn't like 3/8 or 5/8. So that's the measurement, okay? So it's 7 inches by 4 3/8. All right, so that's 4 inches and an extra 3/8 on the end. And how I've written it here is score again 1/2 inch on the 4 3/8 of an inch side. So that means the 4 3/8 of an inch side is the one that goes to the top. Okay, that's always the one that comes across the top. Okay. Oh, hi Amber, welcome. So when you come to do this, just make sure that whatever measurement is on here is where you've got that length of card on your scoreboard. And then the 1/2 inch, I'm just going to score 1/2 inch like so. Okay, so that's what I mean by that. Hopefully everybody's okay with that. So I'm just going to score those 2 bits for the minute. And then we're going to get our lovely red liner tape. Now, I'm just going to pop these on here. Actually, let's move this out of the way just for a minute so you can see what I'm doing. All right, let's tuck the instructions out of the way. There we go. Right. So for the pocket, if any of you have watched me do pockets previously, you know what I'm doing here, but I just want to talk it through for those who haven't. We're going to put red liner tape on the what I call the dip side. You've got like a little bubble side, and then you've got like a little valley or a little dip side where you've scored in. Okay, I always put, when I do my pockets, on the dip side, okay, because we always fold onto the bubble. All right, it's all to do with the paper fibers. Okay, it just helps ease them a bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run red liner tape down the 3 sides that I've scored. Okay, so the tape I'm using tonight is 9mm, but you can use 12, but it's just what I happen to have to hand. And I'm not going to go right to the very end because I will mite the corner. I'm going to cut the corner off at an angle, and I'll show you that. So let me just put this tape on and then you can see what I'm talking about. So I'll just put the red liner tape on there. We're just going to come along here like so. Okay, and that's it. All right, I'll just trim that up the edge. Okay, now where's my Bernie? This is me Bernie burnish. So I'm just going to put that down. Okay, and then I can just sort of put that like so. I want Samantha to put always use a different colour post-it with measurements on top of the black card so I can easily pick it up. Okay, yeah, nice tip. I do normally have them, but I did write it on the papers tonight. But yes, I do use some of those. But it's a lovely tip though. Thank you for that, Samantha. Okay, so I don't know if you can see on the camera. When you score here for the corner, we've got a cross point. Okay, and basically what I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm going to cut diagonal through that cross point. Okay, so I'm going to come across to the cross point, and then I'm just going to wonk the scissors a little bit, and then I'm just going to trim that off. And there's a reason why I do that, and I'll talk that through in just a minute. And then I'm going to come across again, cut into that cross point. It's roughly a 45-degree angle. I'm not going to get a protractor out or anything, but and then we just snip it off slightly wonky. Okay, so that when you fold these back, the idea is, okay, is that those two edges won't touch. I mean, if you're really good at doing a 45-degree angle, then you might get them matching perfect. Okay, I'll be honest, in all the years I've done it, I didn't never quite seem to do that, but there we go. All right, and then once you've folded these back, you're just going to give these a good burnish down, because we want nice crispy edges on our pocket, and that is the basis of our pocket. Okay, now the top, I'm just going to run a little bit of red liner tape all the way along here. So let's just put that on there. I'm just going to snip that. I'm going to use my little Bernie. This is what I call my bone folder Bernie. Give it a little Bernie burnish. And then I'm just going to fold that onto the bubble side, and I'm going to give that a good score down like that. Now, let's get our album base, because we're going to attach these to our album. Now I just want to show you on the original, I've actually when I've put the flap on, I've left the corners square. Okay, but if you want to corner round them, then that's absolutely fine. You just need to remember that when you put the pattern paper on, you're going to have to corner round as well. Okay, but if you're going to corner round them, now's the time to do it before we stick it down onto the album. Okay, just makes it easier to get hold of. Okay, right, so the back pocket is going to go onto the back. There's the center, and it's going to sit, now the measurements I've given you, it should sit quite snugly in on that construction board. So you can see that the line of this is going right up to where the edge of the construction board is. I have made that quite a tight fit, and the bottom fold will when I stick it down, it will come up just a fraction off that fold at the bottom. Okay, so let's get this stuck down. How's everybody? Oh, white pen is good too. Yes, Amanda, absolutely. In fact, I've normally got my white pencil. I do tend to use that one as well. So I'm loving all these tips. So thank you for this, everybody. Perfect. Okay, so right. So what I tend to do is I tend to take the bottom bit off first of my pockets, and then I do the sides after. And so I'm just going to take that right off. I'll just pop that in the bin. Now, if you're a little unsure about sticking it down straight away, I've got some bookbinding glue here. So when I've got the red liner tape, I'll just run a little bit of glue along there as well. It just gives you a little bit of breathing space, because those of you that may have used red liner tape, it's not very forgiving. When you put it down, it sticks, and that's it, and that's what it's meant to do. It's its job. But if you add a little bit of glue, it just gives you that little bit of wiggle room, just in case you stick it slightly wonky and you need to take it up quick. Okay, ask me how I know, because I've done it on several occasions. All right, so we're going in. So I'm lining it up, and I literally am just coming a fraction up from that bottom of the construction board, and I'm just making sure that I've lined it up straight with the edges of the board here. Here we go. I'll just hold that for a minute. Okay, and then I'm just going to open up, peel these bits off the sides like so. Oh, My brother likes to invent things. Steve, we need to find a gadget that stops red liner tape from sticking to our fingers. You need to invent something. So shout out to me bro there. Okay. So now I've removed the red liner tape. I'm literally just going to take that up and I'm just going to fold down one side, smooth it down and fold down the other side. And that is my pocket done. Okay. So I always like to do the bottom first. It just gives me an opportunity to sort of line it up properly, and then the bottoms, then the side one's done, and that is fixed. Okay, how's everybody doing? Are we all good? All right, let's turn it round for the top. Okay, which has now become the bottom bit down here, but it's got top written on it. I just find it easier to do that, and I'm going to do pretty much exactly the same. I'm going to glue this down again, lining up the edges. Now these will come literally just a smidgen in from the edge, okay, and again I'm just going to bring it in just a fraction in from that bottom part of the construction board, but it will be clear from the fold, because when that folds over, okay, it's not going to get caught in there. So we're going to do exactly the same. Where are we? I'm just going to run my little red liner tape off there, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue, because you just know that if I didn't, I'd end up sticking it on wonky. But I suppose one thing from that is that then I can show you how to deal with it if you do that. But let's try not to do that tonight, Deb. Okay, so as you can see, I'm holding, as I put it down, I'm just holding those corners of that folded bit as it's come over. Okay, just so it gives me a little bit of guidance before I stick the whole thing down, and I can just tuck that down onto there like so. There we go. I'm just gonna burnish that, and there we are. Oh my goodness. Right, okay, so this is our top flap that comes down, that's our pocket, and now we just need to add in all the other elements with it. So we are getting there, everybody, and it's quite surprising how quickly this has come together. I mean, we've been live for what, an hour, and already we have pretty much built the thing. So let's go with our left, I think. Let's go with the left. What did I put on my instructions? Oh, I went right page. Okay, we'll do right page first. I'm following these down in case you're following the instructions. So no, you're absolutely right, Samantha. This is when you find out how good you are at hand cutting. Absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest, I do quite a lot of hand cutting with my cardstock and that. I use my little grids. So unless I'm doing a lot of bulk stuff, then I'll use my other cutter. But I do tend to sort of do that. But you're absolutely right. Okay, so on the right hand side, let's just have a little reminder of what it looks like. Okay, so this is going to open up. So we've got a little pocket, we've got a little flap, and we've got a little belly band. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to stick on the flap first, and then we're going to put the pocket on. Okay, because if I try to do it the other way, you're then going to see the flap and it's going to try and stick over the pocket. So flap first, then the pocket. Okay, so let's just put that up like so. Right, let's just open that up. Now, the pocket, I've got all these little bits of tape sticking to everything. Okay, so we're going to do the scoring again. So when you're reading my instructions, okay, so here we are. So right page, this is what I've called this, a page. So 4 3/4 by 4 inches. Score 1/2 inch on the 4-inch side. So that's the 4-inch side is the length there. So we're just going to put 1/2 inch coming down like so. Then the right pocket is 4 1/4 by 2 1/4, and like we did for the big pocket, we are going to score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to come in down like that, and then like so, and our third one along like that. So there are 3 score lines for that. And then the little belly band is 5 3/4 inches by 1 1/4 inch, and we're going to score 1/2 inch on both ends of the 5 3/4. So there's the 5 3/4 along the top. I'm going to do 1/2 inch on that side. I'm going to turn that around and do the 1/2 inch on that side, like so. And then that's going to create our belly band. So we're going to put our red liner tape on, and then we're going to stick these down. Yes, it will be. I'm going to put it on YouTube, Samantha, so don't panic. All right, it will be. Is that Jenny? Oh, bless you, Jenny. Don't worry. It's going to be on, well, it's going to be on Facebook for about 30 days until they decide to remove all the lives, and then it will be on YouTube. All right. So please don't panic. All right. You can sort of join in. Okay. So here we go. But thank you for the, for letting her know, Samantha. That was really lovely of you. Okay. So here we are. So we're going to do our page. So again, I'm just going to put the red liner tape on. Now, our red liner tape that we've got in the shop, actually, you get 50 meters to a roll, and it lasts forever. I mean, look at the size of that. Once you get used to holding it, I sort of hold it like that and then sort of drag it on. It makes it so much easier. But yeah, good value for money, our red liner tape. Okay, so I'm just going to put that on there. I'm just going to snip, and we're going to do a repeat, pretty much exactly the same as we did with the large pocket. We're going to do that on the smaller pocket. Okay, and we're just going to snip that on there, and we're going to snip that on there. Now I must just mention as well, if perchance, okay, we get a power cut halfway through, okay, because we have had a couple of power cuts in the last week or so, I will get back online as soon as I can. All right, so if everything suddenly goes dead, okay, please don't stress. It means that we've had a power cut, and I just need to get us back on the Facebook Live as quickly as possible. All right, so please bear with me if that happens, but we have had little power cuts, and sometimes they've only been for like a couple of minutes, and then it's all kicked in again, but that's enough to obviously kick me off. So I just want to give you a heads up. Don't worry, Amber, when you can watch it back, you can do it at your own speed, so please don't worry about that. Okay, right, pocket, here we go again. I'm going to cut across to the where the 2 score lines cross, and then just give it a little wonky bit, and then I'm going to do the same again and a little bit wonky. There we go. Oops. And then I can just fold these back like so. That gives me a nice finish. Where's me Bernie? There's Bernie Burnish. Right, okay, let's give him a quick little zoom on those. The belly band, I'm just going to fold back on there as well, like so. And then the page, I'm going to fold back and just crease on there. Right, okay, I'm just going to have a slurp of tea. How's everybody doing? Are we all good? Okay. Right, so let me just waffle on. So here we go then. So the pocket is going to be attached on the outer edge of our right-sided door, okay? And when you line it up, now it is a little bit smaller, okay? It is not the same depth as the door, okay? So when I put it down, on there, it's going to come in probably about, well, I'd say just under 1/8 of an inch from top to bottom, but it's just gonna overlap. So when you look on my original one, you'll see, it's probably easier to see it with the paper, because I've done it so that it will line up with the paper, which is about 1/8 of an inch all the way across there, as it follows all the way through. So that's why the pocket is slightly smaller, and then when that folds over, that sort of covers that up. So I just wanted to let you know before we stick that down. And I'm just going to turn this round, and I'm going to stick this on like so. So here we go. And again, if you wanted to corner around your corners, then now's the time to do it before you attach it. Okay. And we're just going to put a little bit of glue, like so. And again, I'm just going to hold it so I just catch those corners in, and then I can just wiggle it. And again, I'm coming in just a fraction from the edge. Now that is not quite stuck on there. Now this is why we put glue on, because it wasn't quite straight. So trying to line up. That needs to, right, that's still not quite. Let's bring that back just a fraction on that side. Okay. Right, I think we're there. I'll be honest, it is a little bit hard sometimes to see where you're laying black on black. So a little tip that I use is sometimes I would put a bit of coloured card under it so I can see where I'm lining it up, just to sort of help that. But that's gone on. Okay, that's all good. All right. So when we turn this around, we can now see that that is the flap. And now the pocket is now going to sit in, and the pocket I'm going to bring down. Did I bring it down to the last bit? I'm just trying to see what I did now. I think I'll put that right down to almost to the edge. So, well, when that folds over, it's up to you really. You can either line the pocket up so it lines up with that edge of the flap as it comes along, so that when you fold that over you don't see that. But because we're going to leave a little bit of black going all the way around, you could bring that down a fraction if you wanted to. The choice is yours. But again, the pocket will need to be centered in the middle of that page, because it doesn't go right the way across, it comes in just a fraction. So I'm just going to do like I did with the other pocket and stick that down. But I just wanted to let you know that's what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Are you putting the pocket into the center or to the left or right? I'm putting it in the center, Sam. Okay, I'm centering it in the middle of the door. We're doing the door, not on the flap. It's going in the actual door bit. Okay. Let's just add a little bit of glue, and I think I'm going to bring that up so it's actually in line with that door and it's centered. Well, the little flap as it comes across like so. Okay, and then when that folds over, you're not going to see that, so it gives it a nicer, cleaner finish. Okay, all right, and now I'm just going to take off the other little bits of the pocket like so, and we're just going to fold that over and put that down. That comes over, and now the belly band. Okay, now depending again on how good an eye you've got, you might just want to go for it, but if you want to measure it, again, it's very hard to see against the black. So again, sometimes this is why I put a bit of colour card underneath so I can see where the edge is, to give me a rough. Now that's 1 inch, and that seems to be over a little bit, so it might be 1 inch and 1/8, which sort of sits quite nicely in the centre. Let me just check that on the other side. That is pretty much. So yeah, so if you want to measure it in, it's about 1 inch and 1/8, but if you want to measure it, but I am going to be rogue and I'm going to go for it, because I am a rogue like that. Get to that time of the evening and I go, yeah, do you know what, that's what I'm going to do. Right, okay, so okay, let's just see what else we've got going on here. And right, so I've got that colour bit of card there. So for the belly band, which is going on the outside of the this page here. So okay, so there's the pocket, there's the page over, this is where it's going on here, and I'm just going to peel that bit down and we're going to stick that on. I'm going to turn that round now because I can see where we're going with that. Trying to get it as straight as I can. Okay, right, let's pop those other instructions up. Should I have covered it first? No, no, you're all right, Sam, because the paper will slide into that because it's going to be a little bit smaller, okay? Because what I like to do is, and that's a good question actually, is for anything like this, then when you put your patterned paper on, you're going to cover the edges of the flaps. And also when we do the belly band, where you've got the fold over, you can see where you've got that fold over the belly band, when you put the patterned paper over that, it's going to cover up those edges as well. It just gives it a neater finish, okay? But it's a good question. Right, so that's the right hand side done. So we're almost got our album made, and then obviously I'm going to show you how I'm going to decorate mine, but we've just got the left hand side to do now. So I'll just take these out. And the other thing we haven't talked about is pockets. Okay, what's that, Susie? Really enjoying it, want to finish it, but oh bless you. Okay, yes, the video will be available on Facebook, but okay, and they only do that for 30 days, but I will be putting it up on YouTube as well, okay? So you can sort of catch it there. Right, I'm getting a little bit clustered with all my bits. Let's have a quick tidy up. Now, just give everybody a minute to get themselves sorted, ready for our next bit. Okay, so we're going to do the left hand side. Okay, now on the left hand side we have got 2 pages. Okay, these are both 4 3/4 inches by 4. Okay, and we need to score those, and then we've got the pocket, which is exactly the same size pocket that we did on the right hand side. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same on that. So let's just get our scoreboard again. Here we go. So let's get the pocket done and out the way. Okay, right, so I'm going to do a 1/2 inch, and then a 1/2 inch, and then a 1/2 inch. Right, okay, so what's our lovely Samantha asking? Yes, don't line the pocket up with the bottom and line it up. The right door price, or am I missing something? No, please don't apologise. Basically, when we put the pattern paper on, you'll see that I leave 1/8 of an inch of black card showing all the way round. So that just helps if there are any miscuts, or it just draws a line to the pattern, and you've got that nice black edge trim to it. It just makes it look better. When we stick the paper on, the pattern paper on, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so bear with me, but we will definitely do that. Right, so we're scoring on the 4-inch side for these, and that's 1/2 inch on both, and another 1/2 inch. Okay, and that's our scoring done, so I can pop that out the way. Oh, you're welcome, Samantha, not a problem. And then I'm just going to again put the red liner tape on like I've done before. So what I love about this album is it is lovely and sweet, and it, like I said, you know, it makes a nice little gift, and it's using up loads of scraps, which is what I love. You know, I have a whole box full of thin strips of construction tape and construction board and that, and part of me is trying to sort of think, well, how on earth am I going to use those up, because I don't really want to throw them away. So I will probably be coming up with a couple of other projects just to utilize some of that, but also you know, it's good to use up some bits and pieces. Otherwise I have a craft room full of bits, and I'm like, what on earth am I going to do with them all? So yes, I am trying to use up lots of scraps and that, but I will be making some other little projects. I've got a couple of ideas. I'm currently working on a baby album, which is going to be a project that's probably going to run for a couple of weeks. Yes, the belly band does go on the outside of the right door. On the outside, let me show you that, Samantha. All right, there we are. There's the right door, there's the flap, it goes on the outside. Okay, you can see that. Yeah, there's the inside, there's your pocket, that's the outside. The belly band just goes on there. All right, okay. Yeah, so I've got a lovely what was I saying, baby album coming up soon, and that is, I'm really looking forward to that, but that's going to be a mammoth. That's going to be a big one. If any of you saw me make my Christmas the big one album, it's yeah, it's going to be colossal, because there's just so much stuff that I wanted to include in the baby album. So that will be coming soon, so I'm going to be working on that. I've been currently working on an ancestry album as well, so that's going to be coming too. Plus I've got a few other ones. Now last year, about this time last year, I made an album which was called The Great Outdoors, and I'd made the album, but I didn't actually do a run through of how I made it, so I'm probably going to remake that one, but I'm going to resize it slightly and tweak it a little bit, but that one will be coming as well. And I've also got a little garden project one coming as well. So I've got lots and lots of ideas. This is the trouble, you see, when you retire and you think, I've got all these ideas, and my brain is just going 10 to the dozen, and I really want to get everything as much done as I can. But yes, so I will normally announce any of these albums on Facebook first, okay, and probably for some of these they will be live. Well, I normally like to try and do them lives, okay, so then people can jump on and put comments on and sort of ask me questions as I'm going along. But yeah, so that will be quite a good one to do. Right, okay, so for this particular page, so I'm just going to come back and show you the left hand side one, how we're going to glue these together. So this opens up, so we will be attaching one of the pages to the door, and then the other page gets attached to the first page. So what we're going to do is we're going to join these two pages together first, and then we're going to attach it to the door itself, the construction board door itself. Okay, and then we're going to put the pocket in exactly the same way that we did on the other side. Okay, so I just wanted to recap over that. Let's tuck you out of the way. Hi Beryl, for those of you who don't know, that's me mum. Hope you're feeling better, mum. Okay. Oh, and my friends put, and an Italy album as well. Yes, we will be making an Italian album of our travels, which we'll be aiming to go on next year, hoping to head off to Italy. So I don't know if any of you have been to Italy before. Absolutely adore Italy. It's my favourite place, I have to say. Right, okay, so I've just put the red liner tape on there, and I'm just going to add again a little bit of glue because I need to try and line these up. Squeak. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it. Putting the glue on the red liner tape, it's squeaking. Sounds quite funny, really. Right, okay, so one page, red liner tape, there's the other page, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up so it comes to the fold. I should breathe, Deb. Come to the fold part. I don't want it to go over the fold because obviously that's going to impact on it. Okay, so if I just fold that now, that's where that page edges come up against. Okay, all right, so you're sticking those two pages together. That's what it looks like on the inside. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're then going to stick this bit onto our door, our left-hand door. So just put that up now, and again I'm going to do that exactly the same. Now just to give you a little heads up, open up your other end, because then you can see the distance that you have come down, or get my words right there, where you've situated that flap. Okay, so that when you look at it through across the album, one flap rather is not going to be higher than the other. If you're really unsure about running that line all the way down, then grab yourself a ruler, okay, and just literally rest that on there to give you a rough idea of that distance. Okay, so you're a little bit out of camera, right? Okay, thank you for that, Sam. Is that better? Okay, we're showing off your left side a bit. Okay, thank you for that. It's very hard, I'll be honest. Facebook like you to record portrait, which isn't ideal for when we're doing stuff like this. So thank you for letting me know. I do try and keep it all in one side. Anyway, for this bit here, when you're running that down, if you're not unsure about your distance, then just give that a measure just to see roughly, and then you can sort of follow that line all the way through, so that when you do stick it down, the flow is there. Okay, right, can you do the join a bit again of the two pages? Absolutely, Teresa, not a problem. So what I've done is where you have the fold, okay, on both pieces, one bit is just going to stick on the other bit of the fold there. So let me just get a bit of scrap. Hold on. So imagine that is a full page. That is the flap. Here comes the other page, which is just the edge, not the bit with the score bit on. And you're literally just going to stick that on top like so, so it overlaps. That is all you are doing with that. Okay, so then it will look like you've got the fold bit. So I don't know if you can see there. If I just, so there's the one fold, comes along, then you've got the other page, there's the fold, and it's the fold and the very edge of that first page that are glued together. Does that make sense, Teresa? Let's give me a heads up before I move on down. Okay, so I'm literally just gluing those 2 pages together, and then it's just leaving me 1 fold on its own. Just see how she's getting on. Okay. All right, is everybody else okay with that? Don't want to lose everybody. Thanks. Okay, not to worry, Teresa, but you've got it sorted now, hopefully. Yeah? Give me a thumbs up if you've got it sorted. So basically, this bit, this join here, perfect. This join here is what's going to attach to the door, okay? And then this bit folds over, and then the whole lot folds over in on itself like so. Okay, that's what we're going for. So just going to take off the red liner tape. Perfect. Thank you, Teresa, for that. Okay, it's very hard. It is very hard to show when you're, especially when you're working with black on black. But I'm more than happy to go over stuff, you know that. So there we are. I'm just going to add a bit of glue on there. So of the 2 pages, the little folded flap bit is what I'm now going to stick on this edge here, okay, which is what I did on the other side. So I'm just going to fold that back a bit so I can see what I'm doing. So if everybody's okay, I'm going to hold in the 2 edges, and I'm going to line this up, and I've come in just a fraction off of that, and I'm just checking my distances like so, and I think we are there. So let's just put that down. So this flap now opens out. You've got, let me just fold that up. You've got the 2 pages like so, and then that will fold in like that, and then that one comes in over like so. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn this around, and I'm just going to add the pocket, which is how I did that. Oh, okay, Sam, do you want me? I'll tell you what, let me get a little bit of white card and black card, and I'll show you, because it will help show you easier. Bear with me just a minute. Let's just grab, actually I've got a bit of white paper, that will do, and a bit of black card, that will do. Okay, right. Let's just re-go over this bit just to make sure everybody's okay. I'm going to put that to one side. All right, so I'm just going to cut roughly what is like the thingy of a page. Yes, I'm going over it again. Here we go. Right, so imagine, all right, let's just trim that down. Okay, I know they're not quite the same distance, but for showing you purposes of what I'm just going to score that. That's just what I had to hand. Okay, right, so for the 2 pages, all right, so imagine these are the 2 black pages, and we've scored the 1/2 inch, so we've got our little flap bit on one side, and then we've got our little flap bit on the other side. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to stick 1 page on with the flap, okay, on top of the edge of the other one. So we are still, let's turn that around, so we are still left with 1 fold. So basically this fold here, see this fold here, there's our page, is going to stick so that this then goes up to that fold, not on it, but just up to it. So you end up having the paper or the two bits of card glued together like so. Is that better? Move over to camera a bit, see if you can see it. Oh, it's because my chair's moved up, that's why. So you have two pieces of card, exactly the same, flaps. So if you imagine the flaps are on the right hand side, if that helps, put them so the flaps are the flappy bits with the taper on the right hand side, and you're literally just going to lay that one edge over the top of the other flap bit. Okay, so there's the flap bit, and then that's the bit that's going to fold over, so it ends up looking like that. Yep. Everybody okay with that? All good, Sam? Like I said, it's very hard to sort of do this when it's black on black, but hopefully using the black and white, it now shows you. So yeah, so you would have your two pages with the flap on the right hand side. This edge tucks into that flap there, and you glue that down. Right, but I've score lines left and right on the joined piece. Okay, so you should have just one score line on one of each page. So are you telling me, Sam, that you've got a score line there and a score line there on one page? Because you should only have one score line, and then this bit should have one score line, and then you're just putting the edge onto that bit, so that then that bit will then fold over, and that creates your little fold. So basically you're just joining two pieces of cardstock together. Okay. The other way of doing it, all right, is to get a big bit of black cardstock. All right. Images as one whole piece. Okay. Right, let me just talk you through another bit quickly. You might find it easier to do it this way. Okay, left score line. Okay, don't panic. Right, so Sam, I'm going to give you a suggestion, okay? Because these pages, when they're cut, when they're scored, are, let's have a little, hang on, let me just bear with me a minute, a measurement. Right, they're 3.5 inch. So if you do let's see, 3.5 by 3.5 is 7. 7 by, right, 7.5. Right, I'm going to give you this measurement. Okay, if you do 7.5 inches by, right, here we go, by 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, if you cut out that measurement, 7.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches, that's going to give you a long strip. Okay, and then what I want you to do is put that long strip on the 7.5 inch side, and I want you to score at 3.5 inches and 7 inches. Okay, because then that will give you exactly the same. All right, so I'm just going to leave that there for a minute, so you might find that easier, because what we're after is basically the whole piece of cardstock itself is 7.5 inches. You're going to score it down the 3.5 inch, which will give you that fold. Okay, so that will give you that fold, and then it gives you that odd 1/2 inch that you've scored, which is what you're going to stick to your piece of, to your album, and you'll probably find that easier. All right, let me leave that on there for you, and you can see that. Okay. Okay. All right. I think when I'll be honest, I think when I was creating this album, I I think I was just going to go with one flap for each, but then I decided to add on an extra bit for some extra photos, and that's why I added on the extra bit. Got it, thank you, lovely, that's perfect, Sam. Okay, just another way round of doing it. I think initially, as I said, when I designed it, I was going to have exactly the same on either side, but then I thought, no, I'm going to add an extra bit, which is what I did. And of course I added that on, but you've now got other measurements to do that all in one strip. Okay, perfect. Right, and now, right, I'm just going to, just to show you, make it easier, I'm going to fold back that bit for the minute. Okay, so again, you can see that you've just got that one page coming over, and then that bit comes over like so, and then that folds over like that. Right, our pocket, we're going to situate exactly the same. It's going on the door bit, on your construction board bit. Okay, so again, I'm just going to take off the red liner, and we're just going to add a little bit of squeaky glue. It does sound funny, a little bit of squeaky glue. Okay, and I'm just going to center that in the middle, but aligning up that edge with the bottom edge of the page like I did on the other side, like so. Okay, and now I've stuck that down, I can now put, oh, take the red liner tape off, and I can put the other bits in. Okay, here we go. Right, oops, that little red liner tape sticking to my fingers. Right, okay, I'm going to fold that over. I'm just going to put that down. Where's my burning? Just give that another little burnish, like so. Okay, and would you believe it? Right, let's just get rid of all these odd bits and pieces. Okay, that is our basic album made. And then that comes up, and then that comes down and comes over the top. Et voila. Okay, so now I did say in, you know, obviously I'm going to go ahead and decorate this, and I'm going to show you where I'm going to put all the magnets and stuff. You're welcome, Sam. So that is pretty much the album made, and in my original one I've actually put some magnets in, so I'm going to show you where I put the magnets first, okay, and then as we're sort of building it along and that, but that is our album. And I have given you the patterned papers, okay, the oh, excuse me, just need a quick slurp of tea, bear with. Okay, so I have given you the sizes that I've cut the pattern papers, all right, and I'm just going to show you where are the pattern papers. So I've gone with, again, I'm using up scraps here, so these are all my pattern papers. So I've gone with like a nice sort of purples and creams. So let's just tidy up. Let's move. Don't need the red liner tape anymore. Let's pop your ruler away. Okay. So before I glue anything down, I'm just going to sort of roughly lay it out. Okay. Now these are the back cover, front cover. Right, they're all the covers. Okay, and they're the spine. So I'll be honest, normally when I'm decorating an album, I sort out what I want on the outside first. Okay, it's a little tip, because then, you know, you've picked your right papers that you want for that. And these are the ones that I'm going to have on the outside. And then I don't normally decorate the outside until after I've finished with everything on the inside. Because as you can imagine, if you're decorating it, you're moving it backwards and forwards and stuff like that, it's going to ruin your covers on the outside. So just a tip that I do, I mean, everybody else is different, but I always put my covers, my outside covers on last. And I do that with my albums as well. I never decorate the outside of the album until everything else is done on the inside. Now I've got here, and I've already pre-worked out what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to lay these out. Now I appreciate that obviously I can't get all of this on the screen, so what I'll do is we'll do the centre bit first, coming down the middle, then I'll move it over and we'll do left side and right side. So let me just have a little look. Inside pocket and back. Right, okay. So this is my paper that I've chosen to do the back part of the pocket and the outside of the pocket. And I tend to, but not everybody does it, but I've inked round it. Now I use a bit of, let me just get it out so I can show you. I use a bit of black soot distress ink, and I just go round and I just sort of ink around the edges. It just helps cover the black, not the black, hark at me, covers the white core of the paper. Okay, and I've actually gone around and faux stitched, so it looks like little stitches going all the way around. And the pen that I use for that, I've got like a micron pen, but it's more to do with the size of the nib. And the one that I use is a 05. Okay, I just find that's quite a nice size to use when I'm doing my faux stitching. But I have gone round and I have faux stitched every piece of card pattern paper that I'm using. But it's again, it's a personal choice. Okay, so you don't have to do that. So I'm just going to tuck in so I know that fits in. Now this is what I'm saying about with the papers, is that where I then put the pattern papers on last, it covers up all the inside folds of pockets and things. So that's going to be on the pocket. And what I did here is that when I cut the paper, I cut it big enough to do both bits, because actually what I love is that in some parts it looks like it's following it through. It does on this one anyway with the leaf and that, but anyway, so I'm just going to, that's where that is going to sit. And this is what I was saying earlier about leaving a 1/8 of an inch sort of border of the black going round on the cardstock underneath, so it just sort of finishes up. So that's where I'm going to do that. I will just say as well, be careful of directional paper as well, making sure that you've got it up the right way. Trust me, I've been there, done that, got that wrong. I've got my spines. So the little spines, the long spines are 6 3/4 inches by 5/8 of an inch. So that is going to go. Now these are directional, so I just need to lay these out. So I'm happy with those, because on here there's got a couple of little words. That one says time. I've got a little mint up there, so that sort of, they will go in there. And then I've got these little side ones, and again these little side ones have got little letters on them, so I need to make sure. So that is going to go in on there, and that's going to frame that centerpiece. Okay, and then the top bit, this is my top, that's the top in outside cover, inside bottom cover. So that is going on that one there. Now this isn't directional, so that can just sit there. And then I've got, right, so I was following this pattern all the way up. I've got a little bit of purple, and I think that was going to be, because that's a flap open, so that was going to be there. And I think this was going to be top inside flap. No, that is top. What have I written on here? Top inside flap, top inside flap. But is that inside or outside? Top inside. No, they're all top ins. Oh, top inside. Right, okay. So one's going to go go there, that one will sit on there, and then when that folds over, that then picks up the purple. Take your time with that, choose whatever you want to do. Oh, I'm cutting out, am I? I've cut out, hold on. Right, okay, is that better? Can everybody see me? Am I back again? Sorry guys, is that better? Oh, let me just, I didn't realise. Thank you for the heads up. I did tell you that this, right, let me just refresh that. All right, let's just tilt that a little bit. Don't worry, you're back. Thank you. Right, okay, bear with me just 1 minute. I'm just going to sort that issue out. I've got a funny feeling it's, I don't think it was the power, but I'm just going to plug in. And give it a boost, just in case. Right, apologies everybody. Right, hopefully that's going to work. It's typical, isn't it? Trying to do something and that, but we're all there. Right, okay, wonderful. Right, apologies for that. Right, where were we? We were just about, I was talking about decorating, wasn't I? Okay, that's good, and I haven't lost you. Hi Savannah, nice of you to join us. Okay, is that all right, that screen? Can everybody see that? Because where I've had to move the, let's just pull that up a little bit. Okay, right, okay, I think I'm happier with that. Okay, shall we crack on? Right, so as I was saying, so the purple, I think I was gonna stick that on the outside. Hi Susie, nice for you to join us. I was going to stick that on the outside, I think. Or was I going to do that on the inside? I don't know. But you know what, when I get to that bit, I'll make my mind up one way or the other. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick some of these bits down now, and then we can move to the other parts. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with, let's take all these bits off now that I know where I'm going to lay these all down. Here we go. I'm going to stick the back pocket bit in first, because that will then give me my line to follow for going up and coming down as well, and it will sort that all out for the rest of it. Okay, so here we are, a little bit of glue on there. Now I'm just going to slide that in. Now as I'm sliding it in, I'm sort of bowing it a little bit in my hand, and just so that I can rejiggle it a little bit, and we'll just line that up. All right, let's just have a little look at that. I just need to lift this up just to see if I've got a straight line. Do you know what? That is pretty good going. Let's slide that up just a fraction. Okay, because wherever I fold that back, I can sort of see I've got 1/8 of an inch pretty much there, and I'm fairly centered in the pocket, so I'm quite happy with that. And now I've put that piece in, I can follow through with the rest of the decoration. So when I put this on this pocket on the front here, I can line up the edge here, and then I can take that down to the next bit, and also so I can sort of see where that goes, in the centre there, and then I can follow it through and all the way up and down. That was my centre point, is getting that fixed in. Okay. Okay, Susie, no problem. Catch up later. Perfect. As I've said before, this video will be on Facebook, and then I'll get it over onto YouTube in the next couple of days, because Facebook will decide to take it down. Right, so let's just have a little look. So again, I'm just checking. I've got the same sort of edging going along here. So it's about 1/8 of an inch. Now I've put the back on because the back doesn't have any magnets in it. Okay, but that gives me my center point, and the front piece that comes over this bit doesn't have any magnets either, so I can stick that bit down. Okay, and I can also put the trims on as well for the spine. So let's work our way down, and then we'll turn it around and we'll work from the top. But you've got in the instructions all the measurements for each of these pieces. Okay, again, I'm just centering that, keeping it in line with the bit of paper from the top coming out. It's just that when you open it, then it looks all lovely and uniform and so forth. And then that one's going to come in down the bottom there. There we go. So I'm using bookbinding glue, and with bookbinding glue, it does go off quite quickly. So, but what I love about bookbinding glue is that it's got less water content than a lot of other PVA glues, and it just dries the paper flatter. You don't get all those bumps and bubbles in it. So let's just see how that is looking. That's looking good. So that is that bit done, and I'm going to twist it round now and go from the coming out the other way. So we're just going to stick that on. Now, bearing in mind I'm working upside down, I need to make sure that my lettering is going to be the right way as well. But as I said earlier, with this album, you can, you know, add extra bits to it if you want to. If you wanted to add extra pockets, if you perhaps wanted to add another belly band or something, you know, you can do. It's totally up to you. I'm just giving you the bare bones, as it were, and you can just adapt as much as you like. Right, I'm just going to turn that round just to see if that is straight. It's not quite. Sometimes you just need that's it. Okay, that's fine. Just want to make sure that when I looked at it from the other side, it looked okay. All right, so I've got, okay, question time. Right, perhaps I'm going to ask your advice actually. What do you reckon then? Do I go with the grey all the way up like so? Do I do that all the way up, or do I switch out and put the purple in on the top or the bottom? Because when I fold that over, I'm either going to have that showing or I'm going to have that showing. What do we think? I know I've got the purple. What do we reckon? Do we reckon we go with the purple on the outside? Or do I go with the grey on the outside? Do you know what? I think I'm gonna go with the purple on the outside, because I know that I've got some purple coming in with some of the other papers that I'm coming on the side, so I think that might match better. Let's just have a little look. I've got green and I've got purple. Yeah, I think we'll go with that one. Right, decision made. You see, that's the trouble with me. Sometimes I'm very indecisive. So, but here we go. Right, let's add our next panel. And again, just a little bit of, and again, I'm using these as my guides coming up. And it's non-directional paper, which is handy. So I'm just going to pop that in. Make sure that's nice and straight. I've got a nice straight edge. Now, that also covers up that fold over. That comes in, actually that comes up just a fraction more, because I want to make sure that that is clear of that bottom bit. All right, let's just bring that up a little bit. Over just a fraction. There we go. Right, let's see if that folds over now. Right, perfect. So when that folds over, you can't see that other colour underneath. That's what I'm after. Okay, right, and then we're going to attach this one. Now, I will warn you that on the outer flap, you're not going to get as much black edging as you have done, because obviously this is the construction board underneath this particular piece. So, and when we cut the card, it's a fraction smaller. So when you stick this on, you'll notice that there won't be quite as a gap. But you can give the illusion of where it is with that fold. So I'm going to stick that like so. And then we can move on to the side panels. Now, I know I've done this all flowery and all the rest of it, but obviously you can decorate it with whatever you like. This would make a nice, I know Mother's Day's just gone, but it made a nice gift. Or we've got Father's Day coming up. There's, you know, I mean, this would be amazing to see this made out of, you know, some papers for Father's Day. A complete contrast. Unless, of course, they're into gardening, in which case this is great as well, because you've got all the lovely nods to nature and that in here. Right, I'm just going to turn this to the side just so it makes it easy. Now, because I'm trying to stick this on and I can't see where that edge is, where I'm just going to put a bit of card underneath so I can see where the edge of that is, and then I can get that lined up on there. Like so. Right, and that is almost the middle bit done, and then we've just got the two side bits to do. Right, I've got to make sure that, because this has got writing on it, I've got to make sure I stick it the right way up. Okay. Right, I've got a nice straight edge on there. That's on the fold. Oh, look at that. And that does line up as well with the others. I mean, that's a fluke, if nothing else. That is a fluke, absolute fluke on that bit. Okay, right, here we go. So, let's just fold that through, and we've done that. Okay. Now bringing this over, well, now what you can do, because I did put in the instructions if you wanted to add more, oh, bless you, Sam, thank you as well, no problem, have a lovely evening, the rest of the evening as well, and obviously you can catch up the video later, or you can go away and decorate it. And can I just say, if you are making this album, please feel free to post it on our Craftywafty page as well, because it will be lovely to see your finished album. So please do that. That will be really great. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that before everybody sort of disappears. Okay, now back to magnets. If you wanted to, you could have put a couple of magnets in there to hold that down, and obviously that comes over. Okay, it's up to you. This is what I said about the magnets, where you want to put them or not. I will put, because this is going to come over here. Okay, yeah, I could have put a couple of magnets in there to hold that down. It's really up to you where you want to put your magnets. If you want to put magnets in these side pages here to hold those down, you can do that as well. And that's what comes over. Okay, so the choice is yours really, where you want to put your magnets, if you were going to sort of hold that in place. Okay, or what you could do is do a bit of ribbon, so we could have a bit of ribbon coming over and come on the other side and tie a little bit of ribbon to the front of that. And that's probably what I'm going to do on this one, because I just wanted to do something a little bit different. But if you were going with the magnets, and you need to be popping your magnets in before you do all your covering of your papers and stuff. Okay, but I'm going to put a little bit of ribbon on mine just to sort of show something a little bit different. Okay, so we're just coming now to decorating the left hand side. So that's this bit, left hand page. And so this is my little pocket. That's going to go on there, because that's going to link in with the main papers. I've got some birdies, which I was going to have, I think, on the, where am I going to have that now? That's going on the inside of the pocket, I think. Or was I going to put that on there? No, I can't remember now. Let's have a little look. Oh no, that might be the outside. That's why that's slightly bigger. Okay, and then I've got, right, okay, I think I was going to have birds on there. That's going to be on the outside. Yeah, that's going on the outside, so I'm going to tuck that out the way. And then I've got the birds on the inside. I've got the grey. So I've got lots of different bits here. I've obviously gone a bit too mad and cut them all. Right, I've got the tarragon. That might not go in there. Or was it the purple that was going to go in there? I think the purple was going to go in there. I think I've cut too many pieces. Oh no, I haven't. No, right. I think I probably have cut too many pieces here. Oh goodness me. Right. Okay. So the grey was going to go on the pocket there. Then I think I was going to put the green on the inside. No, I noticed that that is slightly bigger than my pocket, so I will trim that down just a fraction. Okay, so that's going to go on the inside of the pocket, because then that will match in with the green. And then I've got the purple, which will go there. And then I think I've got another grey that will come out on there, because these will have the, let me move that right over because you guys can't see it. Right, okay. These will then have the paper, or you know, to put your photo on. So that will come over like so. And I think we've got the little birdies on there. And then I've got the little birdies. That goes on there. And then I've got the grey that comes in on there. And then the little birdies on there. So I'm just trying to make sure I've got all the right bits. Okay, so I'm just going to clip that all together. Let's just do that on the other side as well. So I've got the bigger one for the outside. Then I had the tarragon, which will have to be trimmed down just a fraction, and the pocket. And then I had the purple going on there, and then I've got the little birdies. Well, I'm going to do the little birdies on there. Oh, actually, let's see what I was going to do now. I think I was going to have the birdies on the inside. Let's just have a little look. They're on the outside. I think they were going to be on the inside. That's it. So that matched it in with that. Okay. That went in over there. That's on the, I think the purple, I think that was going in on that side. That was going in on that side. That's it. Right, I've got it now. So that was going to go in there, and then the purple was going to come in underneath, and then I've got that going over the top, because then I've got the purple and purple together, and that links in with the purple there. Okay, right, now we've sorted that out. I just need to glue it all together. So I'm just going to crack on and do that. You're still more than welcome to stay with me, and we'll just get this done and finished. So let me just turn this round. I'm going to do one door first, and then I'm going to do the other door. So it's just, now this one has got lavender on it. Just wondering whether I want to swap that over for that one. I think I will actually, because I think that one looks better on that page. Okay, right, so here we go. A little bit of glue. How's everybody else doing? Teresa, you okay out there? You still going? I'm just checking, making sure everybody's okay. Okay, I'm just going to tuck this in. So, yeah, all good. Just checking. Right, okay, I'm just going to centre that piece in. I'll get rid of that excess glue. This is the thing, isn't it? Do you know what? Sometimes I think making the album itself is the easy part. It's the trying to decide with all the decoration out what I'm going to do. I don't know. Sometimes some papers just tend to sort of give you an idea, and you just go away with it, and that's it. You know exactly what you're going to do. But like I said, I did cut this all out before I went on the holiday to beautiful Scotland. And I'm just trying to remember how I did it. Right, okay, so that is that one. And then I'm going to stick the little birdies on there. I've got to stick my little green bit in there as well. I need to trim those down because they are just a little bit on the bigger side, but that's fine. Right, let's put my little spine bit on. Okay. Right, okay, we'll just stick that on. I'm just going to line that up with the other papers, like so. There we are, like so. And then I'm just going to put the pocket on. There we are. But if you've just been watching tonight and want the instructions, and you can just sort of download them on from our website at craftywafty.co.uk, and they are free, the instructions. Okay, so so do pop along on that and grab those. And some of the past albums that I have been making as well, I'll be honest, I've not had an opportunity to write up all the instructions, so I will be uploading those as well onto our website as well, so then you can sort of download those as well. Okay, and this is the door for the outside. I'm just going to stick that on because I need to trim down the green one, so I'll do those in just a minute. And then actually that would be nice, I can then show you how I did the faux stitching for those of you who might not have done that before. Right, okay, and the little birdies. So I'm just going to pop that on, like so. Here we are, straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that's that side done. I'm just going to trim these two green ones down for the pocket, so just a fraction too big, but that's fine. Right, let's just grab my little ruler. So I think I had these at let's have a little look. So that is 3. Right, so that needs to come down about 3 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to take that off. Okay, so we are almost done. Now I've not cut out any embellishments or anything to go on this, but obviously, you know, that's something you can add to your own albums if you want. You know, if you want to make this like a, you know, for a particular birthday or something like that. There we go, that fits in just nicely now. Then you can sort of, you know, sort of decorate it and put on those extra little embellishment bits that, you know, that you want to. That's absolutely fine. But we're just going to pop it on. Right, I'm just going to ink that one, and then I'm just going to quickly faux stitch these, which is good because then you get to see me do that. So with the faux stitching, literally all I do is I just, now if you're not got a steady hand, then you can use a little ruler to go along, but I will just do a little dashes going all the way along. Like so. Obviously you'll have more time to do this. So I'll just tell you that these bits that are going in for the pockets, I've just literally taken 1/8 of an inch off, all right, just for them to slot in. So that will slot in nicely on that one. And I'll just go along and do these. I just think with the faux stitching, it just finishes it off. I think it's just a nice way of giving it a bit more definition. Right, okay, so I'm now going to glue that one in now that I've trimmed that one down. So like I was saying, it's at this point, if you wanted to put your magnets in to hold your flaps down, then I would have put a magnet on this side and one on there, and then that would have held that down in place. If you want to put a magnet in, but I thought I'd be a bit different tonight, and I'm going to just add some ribbon to the album just to make it a little bit different from the main one that I did. Right, so this is where I need to make sure that I keep this paper level with the edges that are coming across, but bearing in mind that this one on the outside is going to be slightly different because it's slightly smaller that page, but just trying to follow that line across. Let's have a little look at that. That's not too bad. Okay, all right, so that's that one done. I'm just going to fold that in and that one over out the way, and then we're just going to come to the other side now, and we're just going to glue these in. So let's turn that round on its side. Just makes it a little bit cack-handed, all of this. Right, okay, so we'll put the little spine bit in. Like so. Making sure I've got the lettering up the right way. Only a little bit on this spine. There we are. And then we're going to stick this in. It's going into the pocket. Here we go. I'm just going to tuck that in, that slides down, and again I'm just going to line that up with a set. That one's gone in all right, so I'm going to put the little pocket front on now. This is what I love about having the black cardstock as well, because it just, the black against the black, it just makes all the colours and everything pop. Right, okay. Let's just check on the other pocket. Yeah, it's sort of, so just making sure I've got the roughly the same sort of areas. Right, okay, so what did I do next? I then did the birdies. Okay, so here are the little birdies. Just pop that one on. Here we go. There we are. And we're just going to centre that in our... Right, I'll just fold that up so I can see if I've got the right distance on there. Lovely. Right, I'm just going to turn this round. And I think I was doing the... That's it, that's going on there. So it was this grey one going in. That's going in. No, that's coming out on that side. That's it. Right, so we've got grey and grey. Right, I'm coming right off the page now. Right, okay, let's stick these on. Okay, here we go. Like so. Right, so that's going to fold over, and then when that folds over, that's going to have the, so when it's opened out, that's it, that's the purple. Just checking where my papers are going so that they all match up when you open up the album. All right, a bit more glue. Here we go. And I just love how, I mean, obviously once you've got everything cut and that, you know, how quickly this album sort of comes together. Obviously you'd have more time, you know, take your time when you're at home, you know, doing this at your leisure rather than me just sort of rushing through. But we are almost there. Okay. Right. And then our final bit that comes over is going to be the other birdie. Now, when I cut this paper, I cut it so actually that the bird, when you look at it, is sort of matches across. So that's something worth looking at when you're cutting your papers, especially if you've got joins and things like that, to sort of keep that continuity going across. Just gives it that extra touch. Okay, right, so would you believe it, that is all the inside of the album done. So on this page it opens out, you've got your little pocket, and as I said, you can fit in this pocket 4x6s. You can put in here like little bits of journaling cards and stuff like that in there. You can put on here a 3x4 photo, it will take that, and you can tuck little bits in there as well, and then those come over, and then again you can put photos at the top here, and if you want to do another little photo there, and then that sort of comes up and over. Now I've not used magnets, but I thought what I'll do is I was going to, well, I could do one of two ways of closing this. I could either put ribbon round it, which is one thought, or I could do like a bigger belly band to go around it. But I know I did originally say I was going to do ribbon, but I just wanted to mention that with the magnets, sometimes people have a bit of difficulty trying to do magnets, so I just want to show you how I do my magnets. Okay, and if you wanted to put magnets in on the flaps so that this bit holds down onto the front, then obviously you can do that, or on the inside as well. That's why I put on my instructions, you know, you've got a choice there. So what I tend to do is, obviously I've got two magnets, I split them, I put a little dab of glue on wherever I'm going to put the magnet, and then put the magnet on top. Okay, and then I get a bit of tape. This is just like masking tape sort of stuff, and I just put that on like so. Okay, and then I drop the magnet on there, and then if I was folding over a bit of cardstock, what I would then do is put a little dabble of glue on there, and if I was sticking it to, let's tear that bit off. If I was sticking it to, so I wanted these two bits to join there, I would then put that on the top, lift that up. That then gives me a position of where the magnet was going, and I would take that off and I would glue that down, and then I would put another little bit of tape over the top. Okay, and so if you imagine that this was a fold and I was keeping two pieces together, now that they've been glued and stuck down, then they will just clip together like so. Okay, so it's a nice easy way of doing that, and obviously you're not going to see the tape because then you would be putting your patterned paper over the top on both pieces anyway. But that's how I do my magnet, so I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so that at least you've got options. Right, okay, on the outside of the album I've got my spines, so I'm going to stick on the spines before I do the ribbon bit. So I've got a couple of thin ones either side, and then I've got the thicker ones, but I'm going to do the thin little ones first. So I'm going to flip this over, it's probably the easiest way of doing it. Let's just fold that in. So I'm just going to put this one on here, and I've given you the measurements as well for the outside that are on the let's just run that glue along there. Okay, right, we're just going to line that up again with the doors, centre that, just come down just a fraction. There we are, that's one. And then I'm just going to turn it around and do it on the other side. Oops. It's getting all into a bit of a mess here. Right, here we go. I'm just going to run a bit of glue on there. Now, just looking to see if there was any pattern involved with these. No, there wasn't, so they were just cut random, so that's fine. I can just stick that on there. Like so. Okay, right, and here we go. I'm now going to do the ribbon bit. So I'm not going to stick these bits on yet because the ribbon, I'm going to attach it to the center and it's going to come all the way round. So I want to be able to hold it in place with my spine strips as well as the front and backs and that. So let's go and grab my ribbon. Earlier, numpty. Right, okay, let's have a little look. So I don't want a ribbon too thin. Yeah, I don't want it too wide. I know that sounds a bit daft, but just having a little look, see what I've got. You see, I think that is a beautiful colour, but I think that might be just a little bit too thin. Just looking to see if I've got anything else. I should have been honest with myself. I should have got more organised with my ribbons, I'll be honest. But the life of a crafter, you see. You sort of plan these things and then you don't. I should have pulled out my ribbons sooner. The only other green I've got is a bit too dark, so just have a little rummage, rummage. Okay, probably not the ribbon that I really wanted to use, but I don't seem to have anything of a thickness, and so I think I'll probably, unless I've got some purple, let's have a little, right, I might have some nice purples. Here we go. I won't tell you what's just happened. Well, actually I will tell you what's just happened. So pulling out my ribbon box, and you know what it's like, if you, I don't know if you're the same with me in the craft room, you just have stuff everywhere, and I've just put the box of ribbons on the on a chair, and it's just tipped the whole lot over, and they're all over the floor. Yeah, right, I'm just having a little look, but I don't think some of these ribbons are going to work with this, not my purple ones anyway. Does anybody else do this? Do you have coloured bags for all your ribbons, or is it just me? No, I don't think there is anything in there where that I can really use, which is a shame, because actually that one is really nice, but again it's a bit on the thin side. But I don't know, we'll have a little look, we'll have a little play. But yeah, so I now have loads of ribbons all over the floor. That's a job for tomorrow. Okay, let's have a little look. That's going to be wide enough, and actually I think that colour goes in quite nicely. I'll be honest, I would have preferred a slightly wider ribbon, but that's all I've got. The colour matches lovely with the papers that I've got, even though the green does as well, but I'm preferring this ribbon, which is a lot, which I think is going to be a good match. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold these up, tuck these in out the way, and then I'm going to fold that down. Let's flip that over. So what I want to do is sort of roughly center them, get the center of my ribbon, and I'm going to use the whole strip, because obviously once I've tied it in a bow, then I can trim down the ends. So I'm just putting a crease in there. That's going to be my sort of center point. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little double on there so I can see that as my center point. Now I'm going to measure, so I make sure that I get this ribbon centered as well. So let's have a little look. It's about 7, so I want that about 3.5 inches coming in. 3.5 inches coming in. And then I've got that at 5 inches, so that's going to be at 2.5 inches. So this is the point of where my ribbon needs to go through. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some red liner tape on, and then I'm going to line that on there. So they're probably going to be easier to put the red liner tape on the actual back, and I'm not going to take it right to the edge, because obviously when I wrap it, I don't want red liner tape sort of sticking out. So I'm just going to put a strip, and I'm just going to bring it in about 1/8 of an inch either side, just to keep that covered. So let's just get some of this, and I'm going to sort of try and center that across that cross mark there. I'm just going to trim that, because obviously when the paper goes on, in fact that can probably come off just a little fraction on there. When the paper goes on, I don't want the red liner tape to be showing underneath. Getting all my words in a muddle. Right. Okay, and then this is going to sit across there like so. So let's just peel that off, because this is the time to check it before we put the papers on. Right, okay, so that's gone on. That's then going to come round the front underneath the papers, and then we're going to tie it at the top there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of red liner tape on the front here as well, and that will secure that. But I'm going to leave it, I'm not going to stick any on the edge, because that would just give it a little bit of slack on there. So let's just add, so that comes across. Just put a rough mark, because you're not going to see this ribbon. That's my guide for that to go in the middle. Here we go. I'm just going to tuck that in there, and again I'm not taking it right to the edge because of the papers going on, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to bring that one over. So, okay, so that now then gives me a little bit of slack on there, and then the bottom will actually won't necessarily have any on there, because you're going to tie the bow. I'm going to tie the bow here, so let's just do that for a minute, and then I can get rid of these loose ends. Right, okay, so how big a bow do we want? Okay, so I'm just going to trim these. I might trim these down a little bit more later, but for now we'll just take that off like that. Okay, so now we've got that on, I can start attaching the papers. So that will go on there. and then we're almost done. Can you believe it? How's everybody else doing? How you getting on, Teresa? Are you all good? Those of you that were sort of following along with me. I'm just going to put that on like so. Straighten it up a bit, Deb. There we go. Okay. Okay, now we've got that bit, I can put the other bits on. Now I've done the back, I can then follow that round with all the extra strips. There we are. A bit of glue on there. It's going to just sit over that ribbon there. That sort of holds that in place a little bit. Flip that up on the other side. Okay. Now with this back paper, I've actually got the pattern going the same way, so they sort of all line up together. I'll show you in just a minute. Let's just stick that on. So you can see the pattern comes across and it follows around there, and it does on the other side. So when I cut this to do this outside, I just cut it from one strip. So that did that. Okay, so let's undo this bit, and then I believe that this bottom bit does exactly the same. Let's turn that round. Does that follow? And if that follows, actually, no, it doesn't. But then mind. we almost had it. I should have done it all the way around, but it doesn't matter. Still going to look good. Okay. And then I'm just going to put this on, and then I've just got one more piece to do, and then we are done. So apart from a little glitch on the video with the power and that, but I think we're all good. I'm just going to tack that on there, straighten that up a little bit. Again, I'm just making sure as well as I'm sticking it that those lines follow through, like for the edges. Okay, actually I'm just going to tack a little bit of glue in, or glue down there. That's it for that bit of ribbon. Okay, and then I've just got the last bit to do, which is the very front bit. So that's going to come down. Now this is quite sort of directional a bit in places, so I'm just going to watch which way I put it up, just to make sure that it's all looks good. Okay, and then again we're just going to pop that on there, and again I'm just lining it up those edges so it looks all uniform as it goes through. Okay, right, and I think that is that. So obviously I'm just going to retie this bow at the front, just to check on that. I think I can probably trim off a little bit of that. Let's take a bit more of that off. I actually have got a ribbon cutter somewhere, which I should have probably used for this, but it'll be fine. I'll tidy that up in a minute. But there we are. Right, one mini little purse album done. So let's just move all this stuff out the way. So just comparing it to the original one. So the original one I did with magnets. So I just put magnets in on the flaps just to hold everything together, and I've put the little place photo things in. This one we've tied with a ribbon, so that undoes and then that opens up, and just to give you a little preview, and then obviously then you can put your little place photo mats, etc. So I've pre-cut some. Now I mean obviously if you're giving this as a gift with photos for them already put in it, then obviously just stick the photos down on the cardstock. But if I'm giving this as a gift, then I might like put a little photo, and I've got a little photo stamp which says place photo here, so you can then sort of tuck those in. I'm going to leave it blank because, to be honest, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this album, but I just wanted to show you that these are size 4x3, so you can certainly get, you know, one of each on there. This is a 4x6, okay, which is a little bit big for that, but if you wanted a 4x6 on there, then obviously you could trim that down if you wanted to. If I was putting the 4x6 photo on a photo mat already, then the photo mat sizes I do are 1/4 of an inch bigger, so that's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and that would actually, and as I said earlier, you would get that inside that pocket there. And then on the little flaps and that on the outside here, then obviously we've got the backing paper here, and then you've got room to put a 4x6 there, which is a little bit different to what I did on the original one, because on the original one I just put the photo on there anyway. Oh, thank you, Jackie, that's really lovely. We'll definitely get some of that tape. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I didn't put paper on there, but when I designed this, when I did the second one, I wanted to put some paper on the back, so it just sort of ties it in. But you can see how that sort of sits in on there if you were putting a photo in and so forth, and that follows all the way through. And then even in these little pockets, you see you can just slide in a 3x4 photo if you wanted to, or as I said, you could cut out some little journaling cards and tuck those in there as well. You can obviously get some 4x3 cards in there as well. And I've left this bit blank here because you might want to put like a message on there, like a happy birthday or happy Father's Day or whatever it is, you know, you can sort of do that. And then I just wanted to show you with the belly band. Here we go. With the belly band, again, if you pre-mounted a 4x, you know, a little card to take the 3x4, so that would be 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. If you mounted that on there, you can see that you've still got plenty of room to tuck that in. Okay, so that is pretty much me done for this evening. I don't know how everybody else has been doing, in terms of if those of you that have been making it, going along with it, if you've managed to finish or certainly get it to a point where you're just sort of decorating now. But yes, and then it's up to you then how you want to decorate it. I mean, personally, I like the papers as they are. I mean, I might, if I was going to give this as a birthday gift, I might put a couple of little embellishments, like little happy birthdays and stuff on there. But you know, I think it just depends on the papers that you use, really, doesn't it? But there we are. So can I just say thank you so much to everybody who has come and joined me on my first ever craft along. I know I've done other little live videos before, but this is the first time that I've actually done a craft along, and it's been really helpful because I know, you know, for some of you, you've been able to ask some questions on how to do certain parts of it. So I think that's really good, and I will definitely be planning a couple more. Oh, thanks, Teresa, for that. Really enjoyed it. Great, and you're decorating. absolutely. Go for it. But that is me done. And then now all I've got to do is pick up 100 blinking rolls of ribbon that have scooted all over the floor. In fact, I'll probably take a photo and put it up in the group so you can see the mess of the floor, because I should have been a little bit more organised and got some ribbon out beforehand. But there you go. We live and learn. So, if you haven't downloaded the instructions, craftywafty.co.uk, just put in mini album, mini purse album, and you'll be able to download the measurements, okay, for the construction board, the black card, and your pattern papers. So that's all on there. Obviously, have a little look around the shop while you're in there. We've got the red liner tape in there as well. I've got some beautiful papers and stuff going as well. So, you know, have a little snooze around there while you're in there. But other than that, all I need to say is thank you very much for joining me. Thank you, Crafty Wafties. This is Chief Crafty Wafty Doodah signing out. Have a lovely evening. Bye.